One message for you One message for you from your aunt. She will bust both of you in the head. Can y'all hear me?
Not rocket science,
I think you, like me, have a face for radio.
Can y'all hear me?
We gonna play with the players we got. Next man up.
That's why it sucks.
I'm not talking to you.
I'm not talking to you.
This kind of unprofessionalism does not need to be tolerated. I mean it. Like,
Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me?
what the hell is going on here? Just all hang up.
Another episode of the BS Podcast.
Hang on.
Moran.
Hang on. There's all kinds of noise in my ear now.
Oh, jeez.
We need a little bit more professionalism.
One message for you from your aunt.
Oh, man. How do I not get it right? Welcome, everybody, to this live college football reaction. Alabama beats Eastern Illinois a lot to nothing. So we'll be joining the Coach DeBoer press conference, or we'll be bringing that to you live as that comes up. No surprises here. As Alabama beats Eastern Illinois, what was it, 55? Lord have mercy. 55 to nothing. Pretty exciting to see all the guys get in the rotation, which is good. And I think Coach DeBoer said it just quite well. You know, that's the program. Those are the guys that help them get things done in the program. And it's not possible to do what they do without them. So it's always great to see the supporting cast get an opportunity to go out and be a part of the game on the field. And I mean, I imagine that if I ever, had the pleasure of going to Alabama, being a part of the football team, and I got on the field for one play, I would be ecstatic. I mean, you're not there just to be one play will, but man, and an opportunity to get on and to play and, to see the breadth of the quarterbacks. It'll be interesting to hear what he has to say. I don't think there's going to be any surprise this press conference. But, for those of you who are concerned about Alabama running the football, as long as we're playing Eastern Illinois, we are going to have a great opportunity to run the football. So if that's our opponent week after week from here on out, heck, man, we're in good shape. Don't you think? We have 7 or 8 rushing touchdowns. So now, the shift is going to happen. All the focus, they're going to probably spend 5 minutes, enjoying that win. But the next thing you know, they're going to tune right in. Oh, sorry about that. Video distracted me, so my apologies. The focus is going to shift now over to Auburn, and we're heading there. We know there's all kinds of voodoo. 56 to nothing, excuse me. Looks like Oklahoma took care of business today, beating Missouri at home, which Norman's a very difficult place to play. But it looks like they beat them 17-6. So I don't know if we're going to see any surprises this week, but it's about that time. It's about that time for rivalry week to come up. So interested to know your thoughts. I see you guys are watching. If you have any comments, if you're on X, please repost this video. This is our live reaction show. We ask that you come in on Monday when we do our full show with Wild Bill and his Bama bullet points, me, the stats in the second quarter, the dashes on DeBoer, which this week coming up, they're not going to be available. They're going to be traveling for Thanksgiving week, and then the fourth quarter where we talk about our predictions. So this is mainly for us to get a look at what the coach has to say about the game, about his feel for where it's at. We get an opportunity to listen in on the reporters, and they get to talk about what they saw from their perspective. But ultimately, we want to know what he has to say, and then what the questions are as we move forward. A game like this, though, there's a lot of excitement to be had. It's funny because my daughter said, "This is the calmest game I've ever seen at our house." I said, "Well, this is Eastern Illinois, and while they're a college football program, the benefit for them is to score a huge check. Their players get on the national stage playing against Alabama, and then our team gets the opportunity to dig deep into the roster and get some guys on the field. So I really think it's great. Interesting that there were several of the seniors who didn't play. It looked like they were resting them for one reason or another. I myself, thanks to YouTube TV and Disney, $2 billion organizations who can't get their crap together, I wasn't able to watch the beginning of the game because I hadn't yet figured out how to see it. So I was searching YouTube TV, etc. But yeah, I want to go look at a few stats, which I typically do stats on Mondays, but I'm very interested to know. And I told the Bama hotline, I said, "Hey, if me, being a low level coach back in the day, the entire first half for me would have been, run practice. Like, let's line up, let's run the football. That just would have been, that would have been me just trying to figure out, unless the coaching staff knows, where the challenges are and working on the scheme against some live competition. So here we go. Coach DeBoer.
You bet. Yeah, just good to get a lot of guys out there today, and of course, get the win and just a good week of practice. Good locker room downstairs. Excited about a few things. One, getting a lot of guys on the field. Had some shout outs to some of the walk-ons in particular who put in a lot of work. Guys who got some stops and put the ball in the end zone, and then just looking ahead too, to the excitement of what lies ahead with the Iron Bowl and the opportunities that are in front of us. And so, a lot of the things that we would just have goals for are all there. And, the things we set out to do at the beginning of the season or even way back in January, right in front of us. So go attack it. And I know we're going to do that, but love the response that we had this week, all week in the work on practice.
Thank you, Coach. Let's start on the right side on the front. Charlie.
Yeah, Coach, just want to see if you had an update on Josh Cuevas and maybe how long he'll be down for.
Yeah, we'll just kind of have to see how he comes along here during the week next week.
Go on the other side, Nick.
Yeah, we saw Ryan Grubb on the sideline today. What went into that decision? Or are we going to continue seeing that?
Yeah, it's just we'll talk about it afterwards, but it's something he's been thinking about here for a while now, and just communication, trying to see if there's a way where you're always trying to make things better. And doesn't mean it was bad before, but just something different. And today was a good opportunity to do that. So we'll hash that out and kind of see what we want to do moving forward. Thought it was good though. I thought the communication was really good, and there's an impact I think he makes when he's around the players. They feed off him, and I thought the communication again between the coaches and him just being right there with them and overseeing everything and getting a feel of what's happening. It was good.
Let's go to Colin, staying on the front left.
Hey, Kalen. What was your message to Connor Talty? It seemed like there was kind of a visceral reaction from fans after he missed that field goal, and when he came back for an extra point. What was kind of your message to him as he continues to struggle?
Yeah, I just hope I wish they'd have their back like I know our locker room has his back, and he's working hard, and he had a great week of practice. I don't think he missed one all week, and we put him all over the place. So, he's going to keep plugging away, and just want everyone to support him. I mean, he's just like every other player on our football team, giving everything he has.
Let's go to Hunter on the front right.
Yeah, just going off that, what went into the decision to put in Peter Notaro and then bring Talty back into the game after?
Well, we were maybe thinking we were going to get another chance with some field goals and things like that. We wanted to try to get a number of guys opportunities. You saw we had multiple, I think 4 kickers out there that all got their chances, and that we're probably hoping that we could get another chance to get him out there, and that never popped up.
Go on the far right to Emily Grace.
Coach, 8 rushing touchdowns today. Obviously, relative to the defense that you are playing, but we've often talked about how there needs to be a confidence and belief that this team can run the ball. So, what did you see in that area, and what does this set this team up for going forward?
Yeah, I just think that it's always execution and just more reps. Everything you get better with reps, and it doesn't matter what your position is: head coach, position coach, player. And so, a day like today, there's just a lot of reps, and we had a shake up there with the offensive line with Gino in there and a few other guys, and so again, more reps for those guys against the looks that we saw, and so dip mixed in running backs, and I thought they all ran hard and got their opportunities, and so it's just trying to build on everything. Again, I thought a week ago, I thought we took a step forward, and we'll watch the film and continue to go back to work. And I feel like we got a physical football team, both sides of the ball, and that's what it's going to come down to here as we go down this home stretch.
Coach, I was going to ask you about the tight ends. Obviously, Cuevas, you said you'll decide to see what happens in practice. You got to see a lot of them today. How does that, with his availability being in question, how does that change things? And how do you go forward with the tight end spot and how you rotated it today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you bet. Caleb, I mean, he's played all year. He's had big catches going back to the very beginning of the season, and just the combination of guys working together, I think, is always key. Whether they're working together in the blocking schemes, and that was a big part of what we were trying to do too, is just getting some of those guys reps together, building for the future. And so, there's intentionality on some of the calls and personnel groupings, with potential situations that could happen. And, I thought getting Marshall Pritchett, who's going to be a really good football player, the last few weeks, he's really gained a lot of steam, gotten a few reps. He's been great on special teams. And, we saw him early in the season, scout team tearing it up and, getting healthier throughout the year. And now he's out there, doing his thing. And it was good to see he get comfortable. It's good to see Brody out there making some plays and playing physical too.
How do you evaluate Keelan's growth over the past 2 months since we've seen him, and what do you think of his performance out there?
Yeah, I credit him. I credit our staff. I think, it's always hard to get 3 guys a lot of reps in practice, but I think we've really done a good job. And credit to Nick Sheridan, Ryan Grubb, of having some intentionality about how we can get all those guys really important, valuable reps, and they take it very seriously. Not just when they're on the field, but when they're behind the line, going through their checks and giving these guys a chance to go out there and play. You can see I thought he made a lot of good decisions. There's, one to finish a drive there. Probably got a little anxious, a little quick on it. I think hang in there a little bit longer. He could have made something happen, but that's going to happen, especially with where he's at in his progression. But come a long ways throughout the season. The way he spits out things in the huddle, just command of the offense, command of the verbiage. He's right there and doing a great job. As is Austin Mack. Austin goes out there and really don't skip a beat with any of those guys. Yeah.
Sticking with the quarterbacks, what did you see from Ty today, and what was your message to him after those 2 picks?
Well, yeah, I mean, the last one, he has to throw it in the end zone at the end of the half. In fact, I told him, I'm glad you threw it in the end zone because that means the stats don't matter, right? Because that would be one where a lot of quarterbacks would have just checked it down and, you're up 28-0, I think it was at the time, and they don't want that. I appreciate that about Ty. That's going to do no good. Your goal is to try to score. And so, he had a good week of practice and probably forced the one in there. I'll have to see the film a little bit. I haven't checked that play, but probably forced that one in there. I think sometimes that happens in these games is you try to force the ball down the field. He didn't get as many opportunities, probably knew it was going to be a shortened game, but you got to be disciplined. And, I really feel like he'll do that moving forward, just like he has all season. You bet. Yep.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as to be expected, nothing of much consequence when it comes to the University of Alabama's press conference here. I'm going to keep an eye on the screen there, because if we get some players, I'm just going to put it up here on the stage. If we get some players that might come up, I definitely want to be able to, bring them. I'm not sure what that's going to look like, but I'll mute that over here on the screen. And I'll turn it down in my ear. So let's think about this. Alabama gives the football game away against Oklahoma last week. Josh and I were at the game, and there was definitely some frustration with the Tide fans that were there. Never really had an air, never really had an air about us. Did it feel like we were actually going to win the game? That's just for me. That's not from Josh. And why was that? Because while we were moving the ball well, we seemed like we were so flat as a football team. Offensively, specifically, I didn't see like a tenacious edge. I didn't see what I thought I would see, which was a team coming out, knowing what's at stake, playing with intense purpose and intentionality, kind of like Coach DeBoer talked about last week. I mean, in the press conference, and I just didn't see it. I didn't feel it. The defense was put in so many no-win situations and came away with what I believe to be some wins. There were some penalties that went uncalled. I think one of them, most questionably, was the pick six. As I look at the pick six, it looked to me like it could be illegal touching, and I by far have been out of the game for such a long time. But it looked like it was a pick. Like the safety ran a pick, inhibited the route, and the ball sailed right into the arms of the cornerback. And so that didn't look good. I didn't think you were allowed to jump over the line anymore, but that went unnoticed. And on one of the field goals, but even with those things, even with those two things, Alabama had the football in their hand with an opportunity to win at the end of the game, like a dream scenario. You're down by 2. Sure, you don't trust the kicker. Talty was a bit faulty. But you have the ball with 7 minutes. You have one of the best 2-minute presence I've seen in Alabama football teams in such a long time. And you go and you just burn approximately 5 to 6 minutes of the clock, leave yourself no time, very little success, and you give the football game away at home, homecoming to Oklahoma, who embarrassed you last year. And so you just have to ask yourself, how does that happen? And yes, being one-dimensional is very difficult. I myself am surprised at how one-dimensional we are. Now, look, today against this particular, 3-8 team, we had 269 yards rushing. But it just doesn't mean anything. The guys got time. The guys got to run, and hopefully, as far as that goes, hopefully it's like, hey, at practice, here's where we're going to look at the film room, and we do have running lanes. The problem is that you guys are not making the cut. You're not running to the right area, and you're drawing the play out, and we're getting tackled. So, there's been issues with the offensive line. That's dating back to Coach Saban, I believe, in the end of his tenure, and that there was discipline. Now we've cleaned up the discipline part to where these guys rarely even get a penalty on the offensive line. It's impressive. But even more rare has been their ability to execute with consistency. So, I thought in that Oklahoma game, just going back and watching some of it with Brooks Austin and how he breaks the game down, there were running lanes, and the running backs didn't attack the lane. They didn't run to the right side of the hip or to the right area of the lead blocker. And so, how do you overcome those things? And it looks to me like, I thought the running backs ran a bit better today with their vision. I mean, it's against Eastern Illinois, but, you can only play the team that's on the field. So I think it's interesting as we move forward. We have yet to see a complete football game with Alabama. You might argue with me that, we beat Georgia on the road. That was one half of football for our offense, and the defense made the difference. Because I don't think we scored like in Missouri and in Georgia. I don't think we're scoring. So what happens if Alabama begins to peak at the right time? What happens if Alabama does get the scheme better? What happens if Alabama's running backs get the vision? What happens if Coach Grubb being on the sideline is a game changer because he has the ability to coach our team up in the moment on the ground and his energy's down there? So that's great news. And the fact is that if we peak at the right time and we start to play, these next games and they are complete football games, I think it'd be hard for anybody to beat us. Now, look, the truth is that the national championship runs through Ohio State. And they're the defending champions right now. And I'm not going to listen to you say, yeah, they don't play anybody. Hashtag Austin Smash. It doesn't matter who they play because they played the same teams last year. And guess what? They won the Natty. And when it came time for the playoffs, they were untouchable. They were a buzzsaw. They were a buzzsaw through biscuits. That's what happened. They made everybody look bad. Tennessee, they embarrassed them. Oregon, they smacked them. I mean, they just got the job done. So it's about peaking at the right time. Now, Alabama has to go to Jordan-Hare. I know we hear about voodoo and, the things that go on at Auburn, and they put up a huge score against Mercer today. But here we are again in Coach DeBoer's second year with our own destiny in our own hands. And my wonder is which team shows up for Alabama. Does our team forego the moment and play down to the competition? They didn't play down to Oklahoma because Oklahoma was or is the top defense in the SEC. And they were within 2 points on a very bad day of beating them. And yes, like 400 yards of total offense, but so that's my question as we go into this week, and probably some of the things we're going to tackle, all pun intended, on Monday. When it comes to what this week in Auburn looks like, I think Auburn is a very, very dangerous team. Why is that? Because part of the problem, whether you like it or not, is gone. So that means there's a less problem. There's less problems right now at Auburn because Hugh Freeze is gone. I don't know him personally. I only know what I hear about him in the media. You only know what you hear about, the players on the field. But that guy is gone. And one of the things that I look at, even like with LSU and some of these other large programs, they want to prove that the coach was the problem, not the players. So they're going to play outside of themselves. Why didn't you guys play that way before? Who knows? Can't answer that. Can't go back and do it over. So I think Auburn is a very dangerous football team. I'd like to ask a quick question here and say this, and I'll type it in real time. Auburn football total defense rank this season. Let's see what the story is. See if I can get some information on that. So they're ranked 31st nationally in total defense for 2025, allowing approximately 330.8 yards. Excuse me, as I'm under the weather. Let's go with how they line up nationally versus the pass and the run. And the hard thing is with Ty right now, which I'm not in the locker room. I don't know. I'm not in Ty's head. I'm not in the head of the football program as a whole. But I don't know if he's regressed, but something has changed. And of course, people have game film on him, which they didn't really have before. So he's able to pick apart defenses. But the more data you have, the more games played, the better defensive coaches you play, the better they'll be able to prepare. And then you add on the fact that Alabama's one-dimensional. And today they were not one-dimensional. Ty still threw 2 picks. One was a Hail Mary at the end of the half. Okay. The other one, he tried to fit it over the top of somebody. Guy had a great vertical, picked it up off, and intercepted it. So here's what it says. Auburn's run defense allows about 91.9 yards per game on the ground, which ranks roughly 8th nationally. Very, very, very solid. Their pass defense, though, they give up about 241.3 yards per game, which ranks them around 91st nationally. So with that being said, does it build my confidence in us going to play Auburn? No, because the recipe to beat Alabama or to keep Alabama in a low-scoring game is out there. What's the recipe? Speed rush on the edge. Speed rush on the edge. Cause pressure. We don't have a combination of offensive linemen that can deal with the speed rush at this point. I hope it's different. I hope they've adjusted. I hope they are better. But as far as protections, for the pass game, in speed rush, if you have dynamic speed on the edge, our guys can't get their feet in the right position and block for Ty. And, one thing, it's not me saying it, I believe Brooks Austin said it, is simply this. He's no longer stepping up in the pocket. He's sort of drifting out. And he's making decisions, and he's making poor throws. So what do you do about that? I think there's a lot of great advice. Now, I'm not out there being chased by Division I monsters, all over 6'2", 6'3", and up, 240 pounds and more, and can run like the wind, and all are intent on my demise. But with that being said, that there's something about playing desperate. Is that me saying that Ty Simpson's playing desperate? I can't say that because I don't know it. But it's like anything that you do out of a point or out of a place of desperation, it doesn't go well. It does not go well because you're so desperate for something to happen that you make mistakes. And we see some of that, like times where Ty could run the football. Easy for us to see. I mean, we're watching it via TV, and we're sitting there relaxing. Not when we're losing, or not ever, I guess. But what about wide open throws that sail over the top, or hit the dirt or the grass before the receiver, or thrown to the wrong shoulder? Ty has the goods. Ty has the ability to do this. I just wonder in him coaching himself, and I believe he holds himself to an extremely high bar. Where's the grace for you? In my mind, looking at a more simplified version of our offense today, it seemed much more productive. And yes, I know it's against Eastern Illinois. But, there's something that Ed Milet and Brandon Bouchard say, and in the sales world, it's very applicable, and I believe it's applicable in the professional athlete world, and they both coach, pro athletes, which is work the rhythm. Don't be so desperate about an outcome. Work the rhythm. And then the rest will take care of itself. What's the rhythm? Well, Ty, you are a great football player, and you can do great things. So try your best to prepare for that mentally. Go back to what served you in the beginning, which is take what the defense gives you. You can be highly competitive, and that is what we want. We love you for that. But when your strength gets overextended, it becomes a weakness. And so now, if you're trying too hard, then you're playing from a point of desperation and you're going to make mistakes because you're overthinking it. And Ed Milet tells a great story. It's one of the guys that he coaches, for mental toughness in golf. And I think it's very apropos, and somehow I wish, Ty could see it, which he's surrounded by great individuals already. But you can't think ahead. You can't think ahead of what this is going to be because in your mind, you may be already out front. You're so desperate for it to happen that you could push it out of the way. So really, you work your rhythm. You do what you know. You play football. And after you're done playing football, the rest will take care of itself. So as the competition gets better, the windows get tighter. And so it becomes more difficult to throw into those particular spots. You are totally capable of doing so. You have the talent to do it. You have the physicality to do it. But what's important is, live to see another day. It's okay to punt sometimes. And that's easy for me to say because I'm a schlub, high school football player, coached high school football. Nothing to the level that he's performing at. But I just know in my own professional life, when you get desperate, you screw things up. So work the rhythm, play the rhythm. Challenge your offensive linemen to execute. Challenge your running backs to hit the seam. And when you hit the seam, you have to hit your after booster and blast forward. I don't know what it looks like, but if Auburn is ranked 8th nationally in run defense and they're allowing 91 yards a game, there's a chance that could be sub 70, sub 80 for Alabama just because of our inability to execute. And so if they know that you can't run the ball, it's no longer a threat, what happens? They're able to pin their ears back and come after you. They're able to commit guys to the pass because the run is just not going to matter. So we'll see how it goes. Definitely great to get Coach DeBoer back to 9 wins. And, when he goes to Auburn and he beats Auburn, that'll be his first 10-win season at Alabama. And the next thing we'll have to do is take what the defense gives us. Go to the SEC championship? Who knows? Go to the playoffs? Quite possibly. So that's what we're hoping for. And you Alabama fans out there, as well as I do, after that loss to Florida State, we were wondering if this team was going to win 8 games just because of how poor it looked. And now I'm going to go and see. Where does Alabama's football defense rank nationally? Let's see what it says here. So Auburn is ranked 31st nationally. So in total pass yards allowed, they're ranked 9th nationally, allowing roughly 162 yards per game. Their overall rank for total defense number listed puts them about 14th nationally, allowing 303.2 yards per game. Let's see where they rank against the run defense. Yards per play, 4.9, which is ranked 28th nationally. There's a lot of yards per game, per play going on out there. Total yards allowed per game, 294.1 through 10 games. Points allowed per game, 17.8, which ranks them 13th. And if you like, I can pull separate rankings. Let's see. Pull them. And let me know. I don't know what else I want to. How their strength of schedule lines up versus the top 25 defenses. Just a little impromptu questionnaire here for those of you watching the program. And hey, all of you are watching via X at this point. So, hey, if you're on X, why don't you go ahead and repost this? This is not a terribly, it's not a terribly entertaining show. The Q Dog here, if you can't tell, he's under the weather. That's me talking about me in the third person, which is tough. It's actually easy for me to do. All right, so rushing defense, 132 yards a game. Pass yards allowed, 161, 294 for total yards per play, 5.4. That's different. The rush defense is the very strongest at 132 yards a game, well below the typical average. How is that? This guy doesn't tell me that Auburn allows 91.1. Pass defense, 161, is also very good, among the better units nationally. Overall, they allow under 300 yards a game, which places them in the top defense in that top defense tier. The yards per play is 5.0, indicates strong situational defense. Yeah, but look, if it's an average of 5 yards per play, you get 3. That's 15 yards. So let's see. Strength of schedule, Alabama's at number 6. The toughest schedule among all teams. Another metric looks at Alabama's strength of schedule value, 186, the third hardest, according to a model from the PFSN. In the article on how Alabama's strength of schedule stacks up versus top teams, Alabama's remaining schedule was ranked 22nd hardest at that point in the season. I don't know what point that was. So it does sum up and say this, that Alabama's playing one of the toughest schedules nationally. That strengthens the case that their defense numbers are particularly meaningful since they've faced high-quality opponents. When comparing to other top 25 defenses, many schools may boast about strong defenses, but if they face a weaker schedule, their stats may be less impressive. So there you have that. I think that's important to say. I'm just gonna really quickly. I'm gonna say pull the top 15 in college football, rank them with SOS highest to lowest. And like I say, strength of schedule matters to a degree. But you got to play the team on the field. That's what you got to do, dog. You got to play the team on the field. Here are some of the top teams, top 15 from the 2025 season, sorted by reported strength of schedule, SOS hardest to the easiest, along with their approximate strength of schedule ranking. Team number 1, Florida, number 1 schedule. The number 1 toughest schedule, according to the rankings that were found. Wisconsin Badgers, number 1 via ESPN. South Carolina Gamecocks, top 3 in strength of schedule. Alabama, number 4 via ESPN, their FPI SOS list. Kentucky Wildcats tied for 5th. LSU Tigers, number 6. Arkansas Razorbacks, Lord have mercy. Number 7. The Georgia Bulldogs, number 8. Auburn Tigers, number 9. Texas Longhorns, number 4 in some SOS list, easier than the above ones, though, based on one source. That doesn't really tell me anything. That's what I asked you to do. Please pull them all and their metrics. There has to be a way. I hope that I'm developing a way to. All right, somebody's live on the BS Podcast Facebook page. That's awesome. go ahead and throw a comment in there. I'm about to wrap this show up, but would love to hear from you. I think it's a little more difficult on Twitter. On X to make a post live here on our software. But let's take a peek here. We'll see what we got. So it looks like it's looking through On3, Sports Illustrated, ESPN, among others. So it's trying to pull the data. And we're looking to pull the top 15 teams based on strength of schedule. So number 1 should be the toughest schedule. We'll see. Okay, well, I think this is cool. Let's do this, and then we'll rock and roll out of here. So, college football rank number 10, Alabama. Strength of schedule number 4. The number 4 team in the country, Georgia. Strength of schedule number 9. The number 8 team in the country, Oklahoma, the Boomer Sooner. Their strength of schedule is number 12. Vanderbilt, number 14 in the country, number 14 strength of schedule. The number 3 team in the country, Texas A&M, they have a strength of schedule number 15 as far as SOS goes. Notre Dame, the number 9 team in the country, their strength of schedule is 23. The number 6 team in the country, Ole Miss, the Rebs, their strength of schedule is 24. USC is the number 15 team, and their SOS, number 7. Number 13, Miami. Their SOS is number 29. Number 1, the Ohio State University. Their strength of schedule is at 33rd in the country. 7th is the Oregon Ducks. Shout out to my buddy Zach, former Oregon Duck. Big fan. Their strength of schedule is 36th in the country. Number 2, Indiana. Undefeated Indiana. Their strength of schedule is set at 39 based on the numbers. So they're 39th. They have the 39th toughest strength of schedule in the country. Number 11 is BYU. Their strength of schedule is at 46. Number 12 is Utah. Strength of schedule 54. And the easiest schedule out of this entire group, allegedly, is number 5, the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And their strength of schedule, their SOS, is at 58. So here's what it says. Alabama's SOS, number 4, is the toughest among all college football top 15 teams listed here. Only a couple of CFP teams outside of the top 15 are in the same neighborhood, schedule-wise. Defensively, while they're not number 1 statistically like Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana, Bama is top 10 in pass defense and around top 15 in scoring defense on one of the hardest slates in the country, which makes their numbers punch above the raw rank. That's true. So I think that's something that's important to see. It's important to know that there's got to be something to strength of schedule. I'm going to be digging more into that behind the scenes, and we'll see where that goes. But as for now, your Alabama Crimson Tide, 56. Eastern Illinois Panthers, -5. How is that even possible? We know it's not. But we know that they scored 0. They goose-egged it. The other part that's really, really cool, I mean, this is just outstanding. I'm going to go ahead and steal my thunder. I'm going to steal my thunder from Monday. Well, let's take a look here. 20 plus 14. They had 34 yards on the day. That's pretty impressive. I don't care what team it is. It's pretty impressive. So kudos, boys. Kudos. Way to get her done. Just looking at the stats. Yeah, we had more turnovers. Our time of possession was wacko jacko in a good way. We missed a 4th down. We weren't 100% on 3rd downs. Still low in the penalty category. Guys, you are being more and more disciplined. And we weren't even in the same zip code. We weren't in the same state, in the same region when it comes to first down. So props to the defense. And I said earlier in the BS podcast, I was like, hey, in the chat, in the BS hotline, or the Bama Sports hotline, I was like, write Kane Womack a huge check. And is that something I thought I would have said last year after the way the defense crumbled and we couldn't stop Pavia and we couldn't stop, what's his name, Jackson Darnold at OU? We seemingly couldn't stop anybody. Well, those things have changed. And for now, that is it. To all you over there on X watching, if you're not bots, I appreciate you. If you are bots, I'm not going to say anything ill towards you because it would be very... No, I'm going away from that. Anyway, that's it for now. That is our live reaction show. You got to see Coach DeBoer's press conference, him talk about the team. There's a question. Rumor has it, according to Austin Dash, that Cuevas broke his foot during practice, and that's disturbing, but I believe we have some talent at tight end that might be able to step up. It'd be hard to do in that Auburn atmosphere, but hey, that's why you come to Alabama, to play those kind of games. So for Quincy Moran, for the Q-Dog, a.k.a. the Q-Diggity Dog, this is a solo episode of the BS Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Your Alabama Crimson Tide dominates the Eastern Illinois Panthers 56-0. And that's exactly the way it should have gone. So we will see you again on Monday. Roll Tide, everybody.
One message for you from your aunt. She will bust both of you in the head. You know, hear me?
Not rocket science, you know.
I think you, like me, have a face for radio.
You know, hear me?
We gonna play with the players we got. Next man up.
That's why it sucks.
I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you.
This kind of unprofessionalism does not need to be tolerated. I mean it. Like,
you know, hear me? You know, hear me? You know, hear me? You know, hear me?
what the hell is going on here? Just all hang up.
Another episode of the BS Podcast.
Hang on. There's all kinds of noise in my ear now.
Oh, jeez.
We need a little bit more professionalism.